Hey guys, welcome everybody. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It is great to be with you on another wonderful evening on Inspirations for Your Life. Of course, we have that master topic that we've been covering all week, which is how contextual versus literalist motivation shapes our drive for success. In case you guys were just wondering about that, and I'll just pop on my hat here so you guys can see. Definitely do check out my hat. My hat actually says believemeachieve.com, and do check that out for more of my inspiring, amazing creations, including my shorts that come out every single day, several times a day. So do check that out for the shorter version of these shows. All right, guys, welcome. Whether you're with me at 9:40 p.m., 9:40 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 p.m., it doesn't really matter. Thanks so much for being here. And why don't you take that moment now to go grab that favorite beverage, that delicious snack, whether it's a candy bar or whether it's fruit, doesn't matter. Go get that and hurry back so we can start the show. So welcome, everyone, to the Inspirations for Your Life podcast. There is so much out there for you guys, amazing listeners. Again, I'm John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur, and I'm a podcast coach, and I'm your host today. And we are diving into a topic that can supercharge your life and leadership. That topic is harnessing, quote unquote, emotional intelligence to drive motivation in different contexts. We'll be uncovering the secrets behind how emotions shape our drive and how you can use this power to stay motivated and inspire others around you. Hey, don't forget to come back with that snack or that beverage. We're just about ready to start. Whether you're at work, leading a team, or focusing on personal growth, emotional intelligence is the key to unlocking your full potential. So let's get ready to elevate your life. All right, everyone? So we're going to start out with defining emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions as well as influence the emotions of others. It's a critical factor in personal and professional success. So emotional intelligence is very, very important in life. And a lot of people think that emotional intelligence is about, how intelligent you are overall, but that has nothing to do with this. It's not even related. So I can tell you that this is something that you really can have as a game changer, if you really do. I think you're going to find this so amazing because, a lot of people don't realize that the reason they don't make headway with others is because they're always thinking about themselves and not about others. That is the big, big problem. So I think this is important for you to understand. And so hopefully this will mean something to you. Okay. What it means to me is that we have the potential to affect other people's lives every single day of our lives. All right, guys. So now that we understand a little about emotional intelligence, let's dive into contextual motivation. Explain. So, contextual motivation refers to the idea or the concept that motivation is influenced by the specific situation or environment that you're currently in. Factors like the work setting, personal relationships, or cultural dynamics can shape how and why individuals feel motivated. Somebody can actually become demotivated because of something you say or someone else says. So it's important that we understand our states and we know why we're not doing something. And if we're not, we want to do something, then we have to really examine our surroundings. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about is self-awareness enhances motivation. Okay, just where I was going, right? So emotional intelligence enhances self-awareness and it helps individuals by allowing them to understand their own emotional triggers and how they can affect motivation. So what's a trigger? So a trigger is something that is in your environment. It could be something that's in your mind. It could be something that you hear, see, touch, smell, feel, etc. Right? That is a trigger. Now, you can elicit the trigger, someone else could elicit the trigger, but it's important to know what your triggers are because when you do, you'll be able to manage your state that much better. Because if you're wondering why somebody flies with the handle or why somebody goes this way or that way, it's because they got triggered. They didn't mean to go that way. So it's important that we know what a trigger is and how do we handle a trigger, right? And how do we make sure that we're staying at our peak state? Okay. So that's really, really, really important, to understand. But it's something that a lot of people, they miss it in life. They really miss it. So being conscious of one's feelings in context leads to better decision making and sustained effort toward your promises or your goals. So notice what I said there, to be conscious of one's feelings. There's so many thoughts that go in and out of our heads, and there's so many feelings that go in and out of our heads, right? But if we've got a feeling that's lurking and we don't like that feeling, then we need to analyze our surrounding and figure out, hey, why am I feeling this way? Like, what changed? I'll give you a perfect example. So last night I was actually at an event that I was invited to go to, and it was okay. But the thing I have to tell you about it is that the environment, even though some people were welcoming, a lot of people were whining and complaining and just not really being positive. And as I was walking around and socializing and talking to people, it hit me that I'm not starting to feel great. And I say, you know why I'm not starting to feel great? Because these people are around me. They say, you know what I need to do? I need to leave this situation because there's so much negativity here. And I don't mean that from a sense that it was going to cause me to not enjoy what I'm doing, but it did affect my level of being there and having a pleasant experience. Now, it wasn't a bad experience, but just so many people were whining, so many people were complaining, so many people were making excuses that I said, this is something I don't want to be at. And it's probably something I don't want to go to again. So I recognized that certain people's energy didn't resonate with me. There were a few people that had great energy, but there were a lot of people that were just like so negative, and they couldn't even hold a conversation. You ask something like, what do you like to do? And they're like, well, what do you mean? And I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be fun. So I have to tell you that when these situations arise, you can politely extricate yourself from the situation and leave. But it's important to know this, whether this is at a personal setting or it's at a business setting, a network environment, etc. Factors like the work setting, personal relationships, or the cultural dynamics can shape how and why individuals feel motivated, right? And as we said, self-awareness enhances motivation, okay? Being conscious of one's feelings in context leads to better decision-making and sustained effort toward their promises or goals. Sustained, meaning that it's consistent. It's not just a one-off. Now, I went to an event tonight with another group of total strangers, and I had a much better time. I didn't get to talk to everyone, but I have to tell you, everyone in that group had a different dynamic. They had a different energy. And it was so easy. And I didn't feel so drained. The other night, it was like, oh, I couldn't wait to leave. This night, it was like, oh, wow, the event's over and I'm still here and we're still talking. So another thing I want to bring up to your attention, ladies and gentlemen, and that is empathy. Empathy fuels social motivation. Understanding the emotions and perspectives of others, quote unquote, empathy, fosters positive relationships. In team settings, emotional intelligence builds trust, encourages collaboration, and increases collective motivation towards shared goals or promises. Tailoring motivation based on context might seem hard, but it's not. Emotionally intelligent individuals can adapt their motivational strategies based on the context. For example, they may use different approaches when dealing with stress in a fast-paced corporate environment. versus a calm academic setting. For example, I had one friend that I knew many years ago. They had moved away, but one thing that this person did is that whenever they were around stress, they always had a drink in their hand when they weren't in work, but they were doing work and they were just stressed. They had a drink in their hand. And I wasn't aware that it was a drink until later on because they just had this flask and I assumed it was water. Later on, I learned that it wasn't water, it was alcohol. So, enforcing workplace engagements also can sound daunting. In organizations, leaders with high emotional intelligence can create environments where employees feel valued and supported. By addressing emotional needs and providing personalized motivation, they boost engagement and performance. Now, fostering a growth mindset, emotional intelligence promotes a growth mindset where challenges are seen as opportunities for learning rather than threats. See, this mindset comes from the premise that you understand it's crucial that you maintain motivation in difficult or changing circumstances. Sometimes people are just lazy and they don't even remember things like your name. You might say, well, gee, I can't remember names. No, it's that you're being lazy. You can remember a name. Say the name once, maybe say the name in a sentence. Think about their name with something that you'll remember in your mind. Say it again, and you'll remember their name. Put some effort into your relationships, and it will pay you back dividends. I can promise you that. So, inspiring others through emotional leadership is another important thing. Leaders who practice emotional intelligence motivate others not just through directives, but by inspiring confidence, reducing anxiety, and fostering a positive emotional climate. Now, these points that I've shared with you really illustrate how emotional intelligence plays a pivotal role in shaping contextual motivation, driving both personal and collaborative success. Let's just go through them real quickly again. All right. So, first, we talked about a real important one, which is understanding what emotional intelligence is. We also call it EI for short. Understanding connection between emotional intelligence and motivation. Contextual motivation explained, right? Knowing that contextual motivation refers to the idea that motivation is influenced by the specific situation or the environment that we're currently in. Self-awareness enhances motivation. Emotional regulation to overcome stress. In challenging contexts, emotional regulation, an aspect or attribute of EI, emotional intelligence, allows individuals to manage stress and stay motivated. Empathy fuels social motivation all the time. Tailoring motivation based on context is key to build good rapport and long-term relationships. They'll be mutual beneficially. So, another one is enhancing the workplace, fostering a growth mindset, inspiring others through emotional leadership. And when you have this, you're not doing this to say, hey, I'm better than anybody. You're doing this to create a supportive net, right? If any of you have gone fishing before and you have a net, you don't want to have the net in such a way that it'll damage the fish. You want to gently pick up the fish without really damaging the fish as you're picking them up. So that's really important. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Mr. John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. You know, it's been such an amazing privilege and honor to be with you this fantastic evening, which, by the way, is Wednesday, October 2nd, 2024. I hope you'll check out BelieveMeAchieve.com for more of my amazing, inspiring creations. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to catch you guys on another show real soon if I don't see you in another one of my videos shortly. Take care, everyone, and be well.